The story opens with Sophia, a woman who has just arrived at her office. Sophia is the founder and CEO of a fashion company. Even though she's at the top, Sophia is known as an open-minded leader who always values her employees' opinions. Sophia believes that good ideas can come from anyone, not just the boardroom. Elsewhere, the story shifts to Max, a talented chef who works at a restaurant owned by Chef Antoine. Max's skills in creating recipes are actually well recognized, but unfortunately, his creations are often claimed by Antoine in front of customers. Max can only keep his disappointment to himself. Back to Sophia, she's seen calling her ex-husband Mario. Mario is not just anyone, since he is also one of the shareholders in Sophia's company. In that conversation, Mario says he plans to sell all of his shares to another fashion company. Sophia tries to stop him because if those shares change hands, she will no longer have full control over decision-making, especially since the buying company would have an equal share portion to hers. However, Mario is firm in his decision, because in his view, Sophia's company hasn't shown any significant profit growth. The next day, Sophia immediately holds a meeting with her team. One of her trusted people, Miranda, reports the current situation. Out of 8 board members, 3 have already sided with Mario. One member named Cassandra chooses to stay neutral, while the other 4 haven't taken a stance yet, including Fumiko. To sell all of his shares, Mario needs the support of 2/3 of the board. That means Sophia still has a chance if she can convince those 4 people. Sophia decides her first move is to meet Fumiko, who is currently in Fiji, and she asks Miranda to find the earliest possible flight that same day. The story returns to Max, who is shopping at the market. Max is suddenly approached by his friend, Julian. Julian talks about a tech entrepreneur who is interested in investing in the culinary field. After hearing about Max's talent, the investor becomes interested in funding Max so he can open his own restaurant.
Honestly, just thank you.
Sorry. Thank you very much, but
You always want it.
Julian then invites Max to meet the investor, who happens to be in Fiji. Even though he hesitates at first, Max eventually agrees. When they arrive at the airport, Max starts to feel suspicious when Julian asks him to wear a suit. Julian then admits that Max has suddenly gotten a private jet charter. The problem is, they don't have a flight attendant or cabin crew, so Julian asks Max to help out as a temporary cabin crew member. The destination of the flight is Fiji, and the person who chartered the jet turns out to be Sophia. Even though it's clearly not his job, Max still tries to serve Sophia as best as he can.
I'm your captain, Julian Harris.
Hi, nice to meet you.
However, as the plane approaches Fiji, severe turbulence occurs. The plane shakes violently, causing Sophia to panic and ask Max to carry out emergency procedures. At that moment, Max finally admits that he is actually a chef, not a flight attendant.
just about to land right now. I'm the pilot's friend.
Because the weather gets worse, Julian is forced to make an emergency landing in the middle of the ocean. When she regains consciousness, Sophia finds herself on an island with Max, Julian, and a co-pilot named Lance. Julian, who is experienced as a pilot, doesn't even know their exact location. Hearing that, Sophia immediately panics and gets angry. She and Max start blaming Julian for being unprepared with the flight. Lance even admits that he didn't know Max wasn't cabin crew. Julian tries to calm things down by assuring them that help will definitely come. However, Lance reveals the harsh reality that they are on a remote, uninhabited island. With so many islands around Fiji, rescue teams will definitely have trouble finding them, especially since the plane has sunk and the signal transmitter system is completely dead. Even so, Julian remains optimistic. Julian believes they can survive with the supplies they managed to save.
News right out of the way. Now.
Great. Bye. A little time.
And food as I could until...
Julian and Lance then head up the hill to look for signs of life. Meanwhile, Sophia opens a suitcase filled with her clothing collection that she was actually planning to show to Fumiko. Max makes a sarcastic remark, assuming she's just a small-time clothing seller. Sophia immediately makes it clear that she owns a major fashion company and is currently fighting to save it, because many employees depend on the company for their livelihoods.
Livelihood. And the livelihood. I do overpack, but I think...
I'm gonna stand over here.
Julian and Lance inform them that there is another island to the west of the island where they are currently stranded. They plan to head there using a small boat to look for help. Meanwhile, Max and Sophia are asked to stay on this island because the boat likely isn't strong enough to carry 4 people at once through the heavy waves.
Stay on the beach. You'll be fine.
Wow, I am really gonna make
are you sure
that's something, right?
After Julian and Lance leave, Max tries to do something so their presence can be noticed. Max arranges the word help on the sand using whatever he can find around him, hoping that a plane passing by will see it from the air.
Yeah, I'll get something on my phone, obviously. Oh, look at that. This is my collection. These are what...
Unless you would like.
After that, Sophia asks Max to build a simple shelter since it's starting to get dark and there's no certainty about when help will arrive. Luckily, Max brought a bag containing kitchen knives that can be used to cut bamboo. Because there's no rope to tie things together, Sophia is forced to tear one of her clothing pieces from her collection to use as a binding. In the middle of such uncertainty, Max tries to lighten the mood by getting to know Sophia better. Max asks why Sophia got into the modeling world. Sophia explains that it all started with her mother teaching her how to sew. From there, her interest grew until she eventually became serious about fashion and founded her own company. After marrying Mario, Sophia held most of the company's shares. Now, however, Mario intends to sell his shares. After the simple hut is finished, they light a fire to warm themselves. This time, Sophia asks about Max's career journey as a chef. Max explains that it all began with his love for cooking, eventually leading him to work at a restaurant owned by a Frenchman named Antoine. Max also admits that he once opened his own restaurant, but due to poor management, the business ended in bankruptcy.
I mean, Julian obviously thinks you're
Still hung up on the whole stowaway thing?
parasol. Wait.
Did you go?
Yeah, I did.
At night, Julian and Lance are still drifting in the middle of the ocean. Rain begins to fall, making their situation even more dangerous. Meanwhile, Max and Sophia take shelter under the makeshift hut they built. The two of them try to rest, even though the feeling of anxiety is hard to avoid. When morning comes, Sophia wakes up first and unconsciously watches Max. Sophia begins to admire Max's calm attitude and positive mindset, even though they are in an unknown place and far from help. On the other hand, Julian and Lance finally manage to reach a beach and meet a local resident. Max and Sophia's situation becomes even more difficult when their supply of water and food is swept away by the waves. Max then invites Sophia to head into the forest to look for a source of fresh water, since Julian had previously mentioned seeing a river mouth.
I think right now we just need...
However, in the middle of their journey, they run into a snake that startles both of them and causes them to fall. Meanwhile, in the United States, Miranda holds a meeting with the company's top executives, including Mario. After receiving news about Sophia's disappearance, Mario finally agrees to postpone the sale of his shares. Their main focus now is finding Sophia as quickly as possible. Miranda then decides to fly to Fiji that same day to make sure the search process runs at full force. At almost the same time, Julian and Lance have already joined the search efforts using a helicopter. However, due to limited resources and not knowing the exact location of the island where Max and Sophia are stranded, their efforts haven't produced any results yet. Meanwhile, Max and Sophia struggle to survive by trying to catch fish using a spear. From this, it's clear that neither of them is used to living in the wild, and every step they take is full of challenges.
What was my shadow?
That night, Max and Sophia finally manage to fill their stomachs with the fish they caught earlier that day. Max prepares it into simple grilled fish, but it's enough to ease their hunger after surviving on the island all day. Sitting together near the campfire, the atmosphere feels calmer compared to the previous days. The next morning, Miranda, who has already arrived in Fiji, immediately meets Julian to ask about the progress of the search.
Maybe not someone who'd be good in the...
I don't think the man has gone camping.
Meanwhile, on the island, Sophia and Max try to relieve stress by playing tic-tac-toe on the sand. Even though they still don't know when help will arrive, their time together slowly feels warm and enjoyable. When Sophia sprains her ankle, Max doesn't hesitate to carry her right away. After that, Max heads into the forest to look for herbs to use as extra seasoning for their food.
Like luck's on our side.
Inside the forest, without realizing it, Max discovers a human skull. The discovery becomes a sign that the island was once a place where other people were stranded but failed to survive. On the other hand, Sophia talks again about her past failed marriage. Even so, Sophia and Mario still maintain a good relationship as business partners. When Max asks whether Sophia has ever been in another relationship after the divorce, Sophia honestly says that she hasn't.
Designing clothing because it's a lot, you know, it's...
The next day, they decide to explore the island to look for anything that could be useful. From the top of a hill, they see a plume of smoke, signaling that there are other people on the island. Hoping they can leave the island soon, Max and Sophia rush closer to ask for help. However, after seeing the items around, Max starts to feel that something is off, especially when he finds a bag filled with money. Sophia initially feels happy when she sees 3 men from a distance, but after Max makes sure, he immediately urges Sophia to run. Max realizes that they are a group of pirates who use the island as their... Luckily, the pirates don't find Max and Sophia, who are hiding behind the roots of a large tree. Once the situation is safe, Max comes up with an idea to leave the island by stealing the pirate's ship.
You see him?
They then move to higher ground to observe the pirates' activities. Unfortunately, the boat used by the pirates actually leaves the island again. Since the conditions aren't ideal, Max and Sophia decide to spend the night on top of the hill. Going back to the beach would be too risky because of the chance of running into the pirates. That night, they enjoy a sky full of stars. In the calm atmosphere, Max opens up about his fear of meeting the investor Julian told him about. Max is still traumatized by the failure of the restaurant he once built, and is afraid of going through the same thing again. Sophia tries to calm Max by sharing that before her company became successful, she had gone through many failures as well. That story slowly helps motivate Max again. Eventually, Max confesses his feelings. Even though they're stranded on a dangerous island, Max admits he's happy because he's stranded with Sophia. Sophia responds with the same feelings, saying she's enjoyed the time they've spent together on the island. From that moment, feelings begin to grow between them. Realizing that the situation is becoming harder to control, they choose to rest so they don't get carried away. The next day, when the pirate's boat returns to the island, Max immediately invites Sophia to take advantage of the moment to escape.
Wait, look. There, on the count of 3.
However, since the boat's engine won't start, they're forced to take a jet ski instead. A chase breaks out. Sophia actually enjoys the adrenaline she feels, and in that moment, she realizes that she has rarely truly enjoyed life. Sophia promises herself that if she survives, she doesn't want to spend all her time just working anymore. On the other hand, Max grows even more impressed watching Sophia confidently handle the jet ski. They eventually run to land as the pirates keep chasing them. When they find a river and feel cornered, Max decides to swing across using a vine, then help Sophia cross to the other side. Feeling that the situation is starting to be safe, Max gathers the courage to approach Sophia as a way to express his feelings. But before things can calm down, the pirates appear again, forcing them to run once more. Luckily, Miranda and Julian, who are conducting the search, finally manage to find Max and Sophia. Disappointment immediately sets in when Julian and Miranda explain that the 3 people they thought were pirates are actually employees of a resort on another island.
So funny.
That'd be us.
You have no idea how many.
I saw the fake treasure. I just didn't know.
It turns out that on an island not far from there is a luxury resort that offers a treasure hunt-themed activity, and those 3 people were playing the role of pirates. They chased Max and Sophia because they thought the 2 of them were visitors who had crossed into the resort's restricted area. They had no idea that Max and Sophia were the people being searched for. All this time, Julian had trouble finding them because he didn't know which island they were on, especially since there are many small islands scattered around Fiji. After everything that happened, Max and Sophia's relationship feels even closer. The feelings between them grow naturally. Max even ends up inviting Sophia to have dinner together after they arrive in Fiji.
I mean, does it really?
Could have been ordering room service hours ago. We thought. Does.
Not long after that, they all finally truly arrive in Fiji. Upon arriving there, Sophia is immediately greeted by many reporters who want confirmation about the issue of selling her company. Even though she looks exhausted, Sophia still takes the time to calmly answer their questions.
Plans, yes.
That night, Julian tells Max that the investor Sophia had previously talked about is actually still in Fiji and is interested in meeting. Julian has already arranged the meeting for the next morning. Around the same time, Sophia receives a call from Mario. Mario asks Sophia to rest and not think too much about company matters. Mario says he has informed the board of directors that the sale of his shares will be postponed. Even so, Sophia realizes that Mario's decision could change at any time. Because of that, Sophia feels she needs to meet Fumiko as soon as possible, who turns out to have already left for Tokyo. Without wasting any time, Miranda immediately charters a private jet for departure the next day. Sophia then rushes to meet Max for dinner as planned. However, Max, who has been waiting for a long time, eventually returns to his room because he needs to prepare for the important meeting with the investor the next day. The next morning, Sophia heads straight to the airport to fly to Tokyo. Sophia leaves a letter for Max as an explanation. Unfortunately, the letter instead makes Max start to doubt his own feelings. Max is afraid that the closeness they shared only happened because they were trapped in a difficult situation on a remote island. Max worries that once everything returns to normal, those feelings will fade on their own. On the other hand, Miranda tells that when the rescue team found Sophia and Max, Sophia actually looked very stylish despite being in an emergency situation. From that, Sophia gets a new idea for her company's products. Sophia immediately contacts Mario and proposes a collaboration. The proposal Sophia puts forward turns out to be an investment plan in the restaurant business, where Sophia will handle the culinary sector, while Miranda will be promoted to CEO in the fashion division. Unexpectedly, Mario agrees to the plan. Meanwhile, Max finally meets the investor to present the concept for his dream restaurant. At first, Max wants to open a French cuisine restaurant using local ingredients. However, after remembering his experience being stranded with Sophia on a remote island, Max changes his plan. Max wants to build a restaurant with a fully local concept, using native Fijian ingredients and a management system he develops himself. Unfortunately, the investor is not interested in the concept Max offers.
Ingredients. Did you?
Yeah.
I'll invest. Thank you so much.
Time goes by. Max and Miranda eventually become a couple as well as business partners. 1 year later, the restaurant business they run grows very well. At the same time, the fashion company led by Miranda also successfully rebounds with a new concept that feels fresher and more relevant.